Hold on this computer. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining Divinely Classic. Welcome to our health education event. We do this all the time. This is like the 5th or the 6th one that we are doing, and I am very happy. Can you please mute your mic, please? Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I am delighted that you have joined this health education event, and Divinely Classic is a health platform where we do all things health and fitness. Like most of you know, the event today is titled Exploring the Impact of Physical Discipline on Children from a Medical and a Social Perspective. And this event, I will say, it was born out of the worrying news of children from African descent or African communities being referred to child protection system under the Act of Physical Abuse. That is because culturally, it's not seen as abuse, but here it is seen as abuse. And we all know, majority of us here are parents, and we know that we love our children and we want the best outcome for our children. And a lot of people argue that physical discipline or corporal punishment, as some may call it, is culturally, and it's a religious practice which is aimed at instilling discipline. I thank God we have a pastor in our midst. She will be exploring the religious angle of it as well. And some also argue that physical discipline made them who they are today, that they are morally upright, they are strong, or rather they've got strong characters, and they are more respectful because they were physically chastised. But again, that is up for argument. However, within the context of the UK law where we are, it can be seen as abuse. It can be defined as child abuse, and it's punishable. You could lose your children, and if worst case scenario, you could even go to jail when these things happen. That is why we've decided to organize this event today to teach people. One of the aims is to recognize the short and the long-term harm posed to children through physical discipline. Another one is to learn new tools that we can use to promote positive parenting. And we are three. Let me go back. 3 of us. I'm the host. I've got 2 speakers as well. Who am I? My name is Ewano Saraboy Sangbedo. I am a registered nurse here in Birmingham. I work in accident and emergency department in one of the hospitals here in Birmingham, UK. I am also the face behind Divinely Classic. Divinely Classic is an entrepreneurship brand where we do all things health and fitness. We sell health and fitness wearables. We sell sportswear, we sell a lot of stuff. At my website, I'll put it on the chat session so you can just quickly browse. And then we do health education, which is why we are here today. Thank you all so much for registering. I really appreciate it because time is really, really important to everybody. So taking the time out here, it means a lot to me, it means a lot to Divinely Classic. And thank you because you're also building on your knowledge. So we do health education, and we are committed to inspiring healthier lifestyle choices. We do this on our social media platform. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on YouTube. We share healthy meal ideas, and we are on TikTok as well, though I'm not very TikTok savvy. So we've got 2 speakers here today, and we do have another speaker who I will be introducing later. I don't know if she's here at the moment, but at present we have 2 speakers. We have Dr. Kenny Madueme. Dr. Kenny Madueme is an NHS consultant in pediatric emergency medicine. He is very passionate about cultural intelligence and health equity in the care of children and families. He's also the co-founder of Afri Child Health _UK, which is a group of pediatrics, health professionals, and they teach a lot about children's health. I find the group very cool. I have put the link in the chat section. Just click on the link to take you to the group. There you can join and learn new good stuff about your kids. And he will be dealing with the medical aspect of this very sensitive topic. And then we have our other speaker, Pastor Abidemi Oladipo. Thank you very much for joining me. She is a health and social care practitioner. She is also the founder, oh, I apologize, I didn't spell that right. She's also the founder of Abiola Foundation. This is a non-profit charity foundation. Obviously, the speakers are going to introduce themselves properly because they know themselves better than me. On that note, I am going to stop sharing, and because we haven't got much time to waste at all, I'm going to hand over straight to Dr. Kene Madueme to take over the stage. Thank you so much.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. It's afternoon here. I'm sure it's afternoon in Nigeria or African countries. And thank you for having me here. I will share my screen now. It should work. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so while I'm sharing my screen, it's coming up. So I work in, currently live in Blackpool. No, I currently live in Birmingham, but I do work in Blackpool now. So a new job, which has given me a new exciting role in the children's A&E. And this is a topic that I find interesting, and I've seen things go wrong many times. So that's why I do talk about it. I need to time myself because I've been given 15 minutes and I don't want to go beyond 15 minutes because I like to keep the time. Time is money. So physical discipline, it can be called physical chastisement or corporal punishment. I'm going to move. Just let me know if it moves. Okay, yeah. So before we start, I'll use the next 30 seconds for us to just have a look at the screen. And I'll move the screen after 30 seconds. Okay, so this is online, just a recent news, the last week, or it's a case that happened, I think, during the pandemic. So we just had the recent judgment on this Nigerian dad who's been in the UK for a long time. And I'll leave this for the next 1 minute for you to just read through that, because I won't repeat what's in there or it's recorded, but just read through that for the next 1 minute.
Okay. Come on.
I'm not the host, so I don't have the power to mute some people who are unmuted in the background. So yeah. So if you look through this, it's a lot talked about there, but it makes sense. I think the sentences, the words are very simple, that I think anyone can understand it, the meaning of corporal physical punishment. Some of us as children, we got a few of these things. I know I got a whip, I got a stick. I don't think I got a belt. No, I didn't get a belt. Did I get it? Maybe I got a shoe, but wooden spoon, no, I didn't get a wooden spoon. I don't think I was pinched, but I know my ears were pulled, because obviously I was being silly. Yeah, so let's talk about reasonable chastisement, because this is a word that comes up a lot when you're talking about the legalities. So reasonable chastisement is the use of physical force. You can smack a child or slap a child or, hit a child with the intention of causing a child to experience pain. That's the essence, whether you are doing it because you're instilling discipline, your intention is to cause a child to experience pain, but not injury. And you're doing it to correct the child's bad behavior and also to control the child's behavior who might be very naughty. And reasonable becomes very controversial, even in the law court. What's reasonable? And it can be interpreted differently. What I consider reasonable may not be what Pastor Abidemi might consider reasonable. So that it's very, very challenging to interpret reasonable chastisement, or it's in the law that some places where reasonable chastisement is okay, but something to think about when you're applying physical force. What is the law in the UK? So in the UK, we have four nations or countries, as they call it. In England and Northern Ireland, smacking is still legal. You're not going to be prosecuted for smacking the child. Obviously, if you don't leave a mark, that means it lies within the reasonable chastisement defense. Okay, so there's a defense called reasonable chastisement. So you've smacked the child or you spanked the child, you've not left a mark. The child said it, and then you can still not be prosecuted. In 2020, there was a total ban on smacking on children in Scotland. And then 2 years later, just last year, this ban went into Wales. So in the UK, only England and Northern Ireland are allowed, parents are allowed to smack their children reasonably without causing injury or leaving any mark. And sometimes parents are able to tell the nursery, just smack his bum, you'll be okay. That's not illegal, that's okay. The first country that banned smacking in children in the world was Sweden. And I can tell you that even in Sweden, I have Swedish friends, there's still controversies. Some people don't agree with that. Same in this country. The ban in Scotland has brought so much controversies that people don't really agree with that. And in Wales, and for you to understand that it's not just in Nigeria that people don't agree with that people still don't agree with that. But the thing in the country is that a law is a law. So it's something to think about. So I keep getting this a lot, spare the rod, spoil the child. I knew this from growing up. We all knew this from growing up, spare the rod, spoil the child. And that's concerns. And I would say there are valid concerns when people are concerned that if they remove physical discipline, that children will become very unruly, children will become uncontrollable. I was reading something recently trying to create a ban for teachers to stop hitting children in Lagos. And there's a report that the increase in the outrageous behavior of teenagers have gone up because they know that they wouldn't be hit by the teachers. So it is something I worry about, obviously, for those families that in the UK that have moved from African countries, moved from Nigeria to the UK.
Listen? I want everybody to listen now.
Okay. Can I continue? So I'm not sure. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah. So there are concerns which I think are valid, that families are concerned that raising children in a country where they're not allowed to smack their children will lead to children going astray. My response usually is it's not very straightforward. I was hit as a child. It gave me some discipline, some morals, I think. I still did some things wrong, obviously. I still lied to my parents, I still got away with things, and I think I turned out okay. Did the beating make me who I am? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. I've asked my friends who I work with, who are also, hit with love. No one, our parents didn't hit us because they hate us. They didn't make us who we are. I don't know, maybe. But what we do know is that when children are hit repeatedly, it does affect them growing up, and it affects them as a person, and it affects them as a parent when they grow up and raise their own children. So what happens when someone sees you hitting your child, or someone suspects you're hitting your child, or your neighbor thinks that there is so much scream in the house, and after the scream or shouting, they hear a child crying, so they're worried that someone may be hitting the child. It may not be true, but that's what they think, and they're allowed to report that because people need to safeguard children, okay? So the public can report the matter to the police. They might see you in the park and they might report. They might report directly to social services if they're able to do that. The public might be someone that works in social care and they can make the report directly. Or the public can go to a helpline, which is the Cruelty Against Children helpline. Or the school, which is the commonest one. The school can report the matter to the police. The hospital can report the matter to the police. If the child comes to the hospital and we suspect that this child would have been physically assaulted or abused by the parent or by a sibling, or the school or hospital can report to the social services, which is something that happens quite a number of times, unfortunately. So when they come to the hospital, they come, I've seen it as a junior doctor and now as a consultant, and it's usually not nice. Because we live in a country where we don't really have extended family systems, I need us to understand what happens when there's an allegation that a child has been physically abused or physically assaulted by a parent in this country. The school may inform the social services. Social services will have to bring the child to the hospital. They don't have to take consent from the parent. They will tell you, hello, sir, we're taking your child to the hospital. You can meet us there. Thank you, bye-bye. And they're allowed to do that. They bring the child to the hospital and they want us to examine the child. You know, we can examine the child with the parents there or without the parents there, depending really on what we consider risk, you know, depends on the situation. But essentially what happens is that if there is an investigation going on, there is suspicion that the child is at risk of harm, that child is not going home, okay? And the only place of safety for now will be the child will be in the hospital. The child is well, but the child will be kept in the hospital as a place of safety. And that is really tough for those children who can talk. Who can talk, who know what's going on. It's hard for them, okay? And without the extended family system where they can decide to make arrangements for an uncle and auntie to come take the child, because we don't necessarily have a lot of families here are here alone. You might have family friends who are busy with their work and they can't take responsibility for your child. Your child remains in the hospital until investigations are completed. If the investigation is still ongoing and we want the child to go somewhere, the child goes into temporary foster home. So for you to understand what happens when they are still trying to establish, is someone telling the truth, is someone lying? So it's not as straightforward as we think from the background. So these are the things that can happen and has happened to children, both Africans, both white, both Asians, happens to any child, and we'll come to something later. So this is something I don't want to happen. We're separating the child from the family, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal for the parents who have struggled so much, who've sold land to come to this country, who are here, they've sold land to do their masters, and they're really working very hard. And you separate the child from the mom, separate from the child from the dad. The child goes into a foster home. It might be temporary. I've seen the children complain they don't like the food because they're used to Nigerian food. And the foster care homes make food that they can eat, which can be maybe British food. And it's really hard for the children. The children sometimes, the ones that are old enough, blame themselves. They feel so guilty that they are the ones that are causing the problem in the family. As you know, when you hit children, when I hit children, for example, if they're telling someone, they're not necessarily telling someone to hurt you as a parent, but I think it's so much for the child to carry. I think it's so much burden for a child to carry. And the child feels better when she tells a fellow classmate, a friend, and that friend feels that you've given me so much to carry and I need to tell someone, and I might tell my teacher. So for you to know that sometimes children don't really do that to hurt parents. There are a few children that will do that to hurt parents, and my worry is that if a child wants to hurt a parent by reporting a parent to the school in a truthful manner or as a lie, my worry is that something is wrong in the family. Something might be wrong with the child, something might be wrong with the parenting, something might be wrong with the parent, or something might be wrong with everything. And it has to be investigated, because for a child to lie that a mom hit him or her is not normal. So when we hit children, we give a bad example of how to handle strong emotions, and we tell them we can't handle our strong emotions. And some children have gone on to hit or bully others because they feel that that's the way they can give out that negative energy. When we hit children, and because we are not so good at talking about feelings as Africans, we don't do feelings. It's not what we talk about. We're not used to feelings. Children might lie to not tell you about stuff, or they might confide in someone else so they don't get smacked or get shouted at. And we've seen some situations whereby the more you hit the child, the more the child becomes worse in behavior. So it's something to think about. And you might make a child very angry, and it brings a lot of relationships damage, which is what you might see when children come and lie. There's something going on in the house. The child might lie that my dad hits me because the dad hits the mom. And I've seen that happen. So there are different ways we can discipline without smacking. It's not easy. I know we're full of love. We can do that. We should be able to have clear, simple rules. As African parents, I know my dad will tell you, I've said it, I'm the head of this family, and that is final. In this country, it doesn't work like that. Same rules should be simple and clear. Good behavior, praise them. My dad rarely told me, oh, well done, good job. He did it once when I graduated from medical school. It's not something they do, but it's something that they love you. But in this country, the generation of children we have now, we have to praise them. Sometimes you ignore behavior when they are younger and they know that I'm ignoring you, but don't try it again. We shouldn't criticize our children when we criticize their behaviors and not call them, you're a fool, you're a blockhead, you're silly, you're crazy, I'll send you back to Africa, I'll send you back to Nigeria. It doesn't work. Some African families are not like that. My dad is
sorry, I'm just trying to mute the person. I'm not sure. Can you mute your mic, please? I don't know. I'm not sure where that noise is coming from because then it's a lot. Can you mute your mic, please? Thank you. Sorry, Dr. Kenny.
It's okay. My siblings don't hug. I'm the only one in my house that's a hugger. Okay, so I can understand when you tell people you have to hug your child. It's hard. So I think you just have to pick the one that works for you. Because I'm a practical person. And for the younger children, you can distract them. But don't give in to say, oh gosh, so much noise. Don't give in. If you say no, and say no with a reason. Don't just say no, I've spoken and it's final. Very regimented, military. It doesn't work in this country, especially. Allow children some control, sometimes decide with them jointly. And finally, if you really want to punish them, remove privileges, time out, you're done, you're done. Stop watching TV, you're done. I turn it off, you're done. I switch off the Wi-Fi, you're done with your game. That is much better than hitting them. Overall, if you're angry, get out of the house, slam the door. You can slam the door and get out of the house and then come back later and revisit that issue, particularly when you're dealing with teenagers. Really important, because if you slap them, it is a big deal. So my final slide, some people have said, oh, they target us, the Black people, the bias. There's racial bias everywhere in the world. It's even in Nigeria, that's tribalistic bias, it's everywhere. That's the world we live in now. We had xenophobia in South Africa. We had tribal clash in Nigeria even during the election. So it's not just in the UK. So yes, I'm sure that my colleagues who have seen maybe Black parents hitting their children, they will have their own bias, but we are trained as healthcare professionals to be aware of our bias and not let it get into our job. Unfortunately, some people may have really been caught up with the law because they feel they were treated unfairly. It's unfortunate. I can't say much about it. But what I want to say is that if you're in this country and you should know the law, please, 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 please. I didn't talk about the section 27, section 43, and so on, because I just feel that we shouldn't know those sections, meaning that we shouldn't get in the trouble of the law for us to start knowing those sections. And the quiz I would give you now to make the host happy. If you're typing it and then she's able to. So if you can type in your answer on the chat and then we will know what the answer is later. So it's illegal to slap a child across the face in England, true or false?
Kindly put your question and your answers. Is it true or false? Quickly, and then we'll just Dr. Kenneth will answer it for us just to save time. Quickly. Somebody said true. Somebody queried true. You're not sure. Somebody said false. True, false, true. Okay. True. So we have lots of true. So it is illegal to slap. Okay, Dr. Kenneth, what say you?
I have no answer because I don't know.
Well, you're teaching us.
Well, my point is we shouldn't slap children across the face. That's it.
Okay.
So I don't want us to get into whether it's true or false. So by the time you get into that reasonable chastisement, it's really unfortunate you've gone so far. I don't want anyone to get to that point whereby there's an argument with the law about what reasonable chastisement is. So that's the point of this question. So I don't know is the answer, because it can be allowed in some instances, or it may not be allowed. You might give a slap and your ring hurts the eye, and you didn't mean to do that, and the child has a red eye, and that is gravely bodily harm. So don't just do that, okay?
Yeah, somebody said it is, sorry, somebody said force slap is, or rather face slap is an absolute no. Somebody said it's force, but in Ireland, it's illegal. But in general, it's wrong to slap our children across the face. You know, I think that's where the confusion is. What is reasonable? What is illegal? What, you know, it's just best that we don't do it. We try not to do it.
Yeah. I mean, toddlers, so just toddlers can smack them in their bum. You know, toddlers, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, you can smack them in their bum. You know, you shut up, something that smack them in their bum. I mean, that's what I've known from childhood. That's something that people still do now. And I know parents that tell the nursery, just smack him in his bum, he'll be fine. And that's not illegal in England and Ireland. It's okay. Parents can give consent to the nursery, just smack him in his bum, he'll be fine in his bum, and that's it, okay? But obviously, I wouldn't want you to slap a child across the face. It is ridiculous. Don't do that. And this is my final slide. So I like this picture because this boy makes me happy when I look at him. And that's our logo for AfriChild Health. If you join us on Facebook, and it's a public group, so you're able to see things that we post there. But if you join us and I tag at everyone, it comes on your news feed for us to see what we do as African pediatricians. Some of us trained in Nigeria and in African countries, others we are trained here, but they have very strong African heritage. And we talk about things that affect African children in a very sensitive way so that our people will understand. Because most times our people better understand these things when their people talk about it. And thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much. We've got some contributions, but we'll leave that to the end of because we are eating into Pastor Abidemi's time now. So we're going to go back to the questions. Thank you so much. Please leave your questions. Hopefully we have time to go through all of them. On that note, can we just say thank you to Dr. Kenneth? Thank you so much, Dr. Kenneth. And for the record, I didn't pay anybody to be here, you know, so being here means a lot. So thank you so much for the time. I know how hard it is to like put these slides together. Thank you so much, Dr. Kenneth. Next on our guest list, our special guest list is Pastor Abidemi Oladipo. Thank you ever so much, Ma. To save time, if you want to take over and introduce yourself, that would be much appreciated, Ma. Thank you, Ma.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to be here. Well done, Dr. Kenneth. Dr. Kenneth, sorry. Well done. I think he actually delved into some of my points, really. It was like he came to spice a part of my notes. But well done. Good afternoon, everybody. This is a very crucial topic. And I want to tell you, my sister, Divinely Classic, 1 hour is not enough to talk about this topic.
Honestly, Ma, it is not.
What doctor has done was just to go through a lot of things in just a short time.
Yeah.
I don't have any slide, but if you're on this program, I want you to look at me in the face. As an African, whatever you are doing, I want you to unmute your camera and look at me very well in the face. My name is Abidemi Oladipo. I trained in Africa for over I'm going to say over 30 years ago as a registered nurse and a midwife. But when I got to Europe, I changed and I went into social care. I went to University of Shannon in Ireland, Republic of Ireland, in Athlone, where I did my social care practice there, and finally moved to UK with my husband, who is a pharmacist. I've been socially, as in relating with people as well. And, you know, we have duty of care. I'm a pastor. My husband is a pastor as well. He's a pharmacist as well. We relate and we see a lot of sample cases like people we see in the hospital. But I want to tell us as an African, like doctor said, nobody is looking onto you. Nobody is after you. Nobody is eyeing you or after you as your child. We give and sell to them what to make them look at us. We are the one who invites them through our role, through the way we talk, through what we do, through the way we treat our children. Parenting is a lifetime event. It has got no expiry date. Go and ask our parents who has been taking care of us, even when we are married. I've been married for over 24 years, who are married. My mother is still concerned about me. It is natural. And nobody will want to go out after you there and be like, okay, wanting to kill a child intentionally. But as Africans, there are certain things we should unlearn from our behavior. The way my father brought me up, I used to tell my children, I tell them as it is. And I used to tell them, I can't bring you up that way. Number one, I am not in a region where I was trained, where I was brought up. The culture of where I'm coming from, which is Africa, is not it. I'm not saying it is right to do whatever. I was brought up. My father was a disciplinarian. He was educated. But if I analyze the way he relates with us, what he did with us, I'll tell you for now, we classify 80% of it as an abuse. Even in Nigeria, some things are not condoned again, no matter where you are. Fine, we are here in UK. Even if you are back home in Africa, this rule, whatever we're going to say here, whatever has been said by the other doctor, it still applies all over the world. Forget about religion. Forget about what we are going to bring. What religion, Christianity says. Are you getting me? So when you are in Europe, when you are in another part of the world that is different from where you're coming from, which is Africa, from the moment you step your feet into the airport, that child is no longer yours. There is a partial and shared responsibility between the state and yourself from the airport. The day they give you visa, whether visiting, whether permanent, whether red passport, whether green, whether purple, from the day whether a visitor, you are here for 2 weeks, from the day you lay your leg in the airport, the responsibility of that child is principally shared by the one person, the person who has a custody of that child, and you as a parent, and the government. So there are two things in force. We have safeguarding, we have child protection. Safeguarding is for anything. For example, a child is crying, they lock child in the house. Any response at that time, that child is going to be safeguarded. Are you getting me? There are laws, that they call it child protection laws. I can't be mentioning them now. Child Act 29 and 2024, that there are laws that covers you as a parent, that covers anybody taking care of that child, that has responsibility over that child, and the social services as well. Talking of doctors, talking of nurses, talking of teachers, talking of healthcare assistants, everybody that is connected with that the arrows point to. There are laws, even though it's not, if you are taking care, you have duty of care over a child. You can hear what that doctor said. He said, if a child is brought into the hospital, they see marks all over. I tell you, as a doctor, he has duty of care to call the police. There are social workers in the hospitals. There are social workers in the schools. They are not after you. If these people fails in their responsibility, they are accountable. They can lose their PIN, they can lose their register, they can lose their certificate. That is why everybody is on their feet when things like that happen. Are you getting me? So when we now talk about spanking a child, let's not take it too far. Spanking children, slapping them, eating them, putting them in the corner, stool down, keep them for 1 hour. That case that doctor presented to you is the most fresh. It was heard and finalized on the 15th of May in a London court. Because he's a child, they didn't bring about the name, but the father is a 66-year-old man. The case happened during COVID. Doctor asked us to read it. I don't know whether we comprehend it. What did this man is going to jail for 3 years for? Is not because he left the child and his house got burnt. He was trying to discipline the child, bring discipline, because the child was always met on, at that COVID time, children were always on internet. And that was how they receive education and everything. Even teachers, they call and monitor and everything. They give them things online. I think the parent now felt that, this child is too much on the computer and everything. They left. It's a very long story. Eventually, the daddy came and the child was reported. the child, he eats the child and everything. So socially, what you make the attention of social services draw to your attention, it happens in school. School is #1 network. How regular is your children? What is it called? How regular is your children homework? How regular do they come late or come early to school? Programs, how well are they participating? How dull are they? How clean are they? Has anybody gone to school to report them now? Nobody. It is you. What you do on your children will make them talk. Children are very innocent and they are very straightforward. They are not, they don't know how to paint things. Whether you are their parent, whether you don't their parent, the person that you can get the truth from is a child. They will tell you as it is. They will not lie to you. If you love them, they will tell you, mommy loves me, daddy loves me. Daddy has always been slapping. One thing that I'm here to say is that, you see, Africans, we were talking about which one is the proper way of spanking, which one is the one that is reasonable, that's allowed. As Africans, I'm telling you, you are in a state, if you can go back home and be arguing over that. Here, like my husband will say, there's no border Sunday here. You can't easily buy your way. You are just going to wait? Are you ready to lose your children to the states? Or you are ready? Because when we get here, is that child really your priority? Basic thing is that eating doesn't work again. Eating a child doesn't work again. What it does is that it hardens the child and it changes the mentality of that child that at the end of the day, mommy go just beat me. When he beats me, and that's it. And it even make that child to be confrontational. The child will look at you in the face. You are adding the child up. Positive approach to correcting your child will bring a positive outcome. A negative approach to eating your child, to treating and correcting a child will bring a negative approach. So what are you going to do? Oftentimes, what children want us to do is for us to be present in their life. Not for us, correction, even though you are there to correct, to direct, and to listen. But it is not in us as African. I pick one of those things that doctor said. In the home, you are allowed. I have 3 girls. One of those ways that I actually was scared of, that girls, they have tendency to be lured back by a man. If I don't love them, if I don't show them love at home, forget that I'm a pastor. If I were not a pastor, this is the way I would treat my children. Forget about, because whether you are a pastor, you are not pastor, we are all the same. Only we just give more attention and we expect so much of pastor's children. Are you getting me? But they are all the same. They are all the same. We just put them under unnecessary pressure. I tell you, you are there to listen. It's not about eating. When you eat a child, the child's confidence, the bond.
Okay,
the bond.
Sorry, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm trying to mute them,
please.
I'm trying to. I don't even know what's going on with my computer now. Can you mute your mic, please? Please. Thank you. I'm clicking on my computer. It's not even going. Please mute your mic, please. Thank you so much. Carry on, ma. Sorry for that.
Socially, it is not accepted here. You see, the way if on the streets now you are going and your child is trying to run into the road or run into a ditch or run into a danger area, what you need to do? Oh, you shout. At that time, everybody is there. They know that you are trying to lure and prevent that child from running into danger. But if you take a child and you spank unnecessarily outside, you have those who will report you. Because it is not until you spank that child that the child will hear. There is one thing in parenting they call redirection or modeling positive behavior. When you tell a child that something is wrong, positive behavior is that you are showing them what they should have done. You practicalize it. What a child sees one-on-one, what you present to them do, register more in their brain than that thing than when you eat them. When you eat them, you left them with pain. A child does not have to be corrected until the child feel pains. That was the way we were brought up. Until you sweat, until mucus begin to come out of your nose. That is when you now begin to, you know that you have a. It is not, and that is our mentality. That's African mentality. We have to unlearn. What does it mean to unlearn? Your past knowledge about an event or an idea, you should forget about it and learn the new thing, learn the correct thing. Are you getting me? That is one thing as parents, as Africans, that we must learn. Because if you don't unlearn, you find yourself in that thing, knowing it. Take time out to go and read about all those laws. Those laws are there. Government put it in place. And you know why? Why you feel that they have eyes on us is because they know that we tell our children not to say anything outside. Not to say anything outside. So if a child does not want to say anything outside, they know. A child here, we train children to look at you in the eyes. As African, they look down. When you get home, when you get here, don't shout in your face. I'm talking, you are talking, and you are looking at me, and you have the child to say. If the child goes to school to do that, number one, they will suspect that the child is under abuse. That is number one attraction. Here, confidence is built when you look at somebody. If you get to the airport at the immigration and you are looking down into your passport, they will suspect you. They will put you aside. At the immigration, even at the point of entry, look at them. Want to hide, like a lion and a tiger, they are looking at this. They know that you don't have anything to hide. So those are the things here. You don't, the nurses have responsibility. It is not the doctors alone who attended to your child that has responsibility over time. The nurses ask, the doctors ask, the teachers ask. Go and look at every abuse cases under the history of UK or Europe, wherever you are. Those people who are there, who fail in the course of their duty, is either they are suspended, is either they are sacked, is either one thing or the other is done to them. They have responsibility to be there. So if cases come up in court, for example, what they say, the social worker will be there. What did you trace in their house? What did you see? What is there? Everybody, even bystanders, people who are looking at you, your neighbors, they will get one thing. Oh no, the only thing we hear from there, we hear the children screaming all the time. They scream. I'm telling you, that's one word. It's not enough for them to decide, though, but it will help their case. They know no, it's always shout from there. Just the way your children are looking at, just the way they look, just the way they dress, just everything is enough to attract. Here, it is not allowed. If I were you as an African, whether within or outside, please try and learn not to spank your children. Number one, the bond between you as a parent and your child is going to be broken. They will not find love in you. They will go outside and find love, find fake love. You are the most authentic person who can give your children love. I'm going to go about what the Bible says. Let me tell you, it is only the Bible that the portion of the Bible that favors us, that we turn to ourselves. The only one that we listen to and we grab, we turn it upside down. The Bible was only talking in Proverbs, in the book of Proverbs. We are there in the book of Proverbs 13:24. It was talking about you sparing the rod and spoiling the child. Has the Bible now told you to not kill your child, spare the rod? The Bible is just telling you that at that, correct your child. Correct your child, leave rod. At that time, the child is your bone of contention. And you know children that are not well trained, that are not well brought up. I will tell you one thing. I went to a family yesterday and I went to greet them. Their grandfather died. And we were all in the sitting room. Their mom was not at home. And you know what the children were doing? All of them, the two of them, three, they were, one stood right in front of me and was on the phone. Their dad stopped their phone and the other one was on the phone. You know what I said? I said, you know what? Hello. I said, this is disrupting the family now. Can you take off your phone? We are all in the sitting room. Are you getting me? For that period, that's what they've been doing, even when I'm not there. When a visitor is now there, in the front of your visitor, all of you now brought out phone. I came to get you, you lost your granddad. Are you getting me? So, when you train up a child, you know when we were not going, My last girl was there. I'm not trying to paint that I'm a perfect mother. Oftentimes, what we do, we want to present to the world that we are perfect. God does not want our perfection as parents. He wants us to be there to be present. When we spank children, we want to prove to others that, me, I beat my children when I do like this. Oftentimes, when you hide them, when they're outside, some people don't even, some of them don't look at your eyes because they know that this thing, we don't do it outside. The Bible is not telling you to kill your child to spoil the rod. The Bible is just telling you that you be alert. When you are there, when you are supposed to be there to correct as parents, be there to them to correct as parents. Some of them, you slap them, you do whatever. You are not modeling good things to them. Because you slap your wife, you shout. The only way a child can learn from you is what you model to them. The picture you give to them. You shout at your husband, you shout at your friend, you gossip about people. Whatever you model to them, that's the copy that they will have. That's what they will bring to them. So as parents, the only thing you model to them, when they do wrong thing, sit them down. Augusta, okay, I don't like you putting this in there. When you put it there, this is what happened. In case there can be fire, I don't like it. Are you listening to me now? Mommy is going to get angry at you. Mommy don't like it when you put that in there. Did you shout? Did you stress yourself? That thing, the picture is there the day you are telling that child. Even if the child doesn't pick it up immediately, if constantly you model that thing to her, to him or her, fine. It's registered more. He knows that mommy is correcting in love, not because he wants to spank me. But oftentimes we believe that if you have not inflicted a child's pain, the child is not going to correct, is not going to hear us. We have to unlearn that. And fine, if you are correcting a child, there's what I have here, and it's called redirection. The child is eating, two of them are there, and they are both fighting. They are dragging over something. Separate them. What you don't want them to do, take that child and connect the child to another thing to do. Because children love to be busy. A child you feel throw tantrum in the house and everything, get a drum set, get something that keep that child where the child will divert all our, that agitativeness and just put it there. At times, when children go to school, teachers, social workers, and everybody, we pick up things in the child. And even as Christian, when they get you, they call you, say, I reject it in Jesus' name. I reject it in Jesus' name. I'm not saying it's not good to reject something in Jesus' name, but faith without work, even the Bible you are reading says is dead. You see somebody who help you identify a fault, and you don't want to face a reality. You feel they are naming your children anything. All these things you should have taught before coming to Europe. This is the function of Europe. This is what transpires here. This is not, if it's Africa, your child can get to 14 years and they will not diagnose anything. Nobody will identify that anything is going on in the child. Now they brought the child here, you are rejecting it. Like I tell you, when you get here, you are not only the owner of your children, the state has, that's why if you perform any rubbish, there is emergency care order in which a child, if the safety of that, because there's one thing, the human rights of a child, the right of a child, whether you are the parent or you are not the parent, it is, you don't have say. It is the comfort and the safety of that child that matters. If they know that that child safety is hindered, there is problem with it, you will see police in your house immediately. That child will be taken to your house, out of your house, and there is what they call a law court. The law court will support them for doing that. You will not see that child within some period of time. My desire is that as parents, we will not lose our virtues, which the Lord has given unto us.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you. Thank you. So please, if you have questions, if you want to put your hands up or you want to type, it's faster when you put your hands up and actually speak. But before then, just to touch on quickly what Pastor Abidemis just said about physical chastisement and the Bible, because I remember asking her to actually touch on that, because majority of us here are Christians, and we always use that Bible passage about to justify us hitting our children, And then I've got my big auntie here, Auntie Abiyayu Waiweka, and she said, good afternoon, everyone. The Bible says you spare the rod, you spoil the child. Even if smacking is not allowed, you can be firm and fair with the child. Your eye movement and body language can tell a lot on what is allowed and what is not allowed. I'll quickly touch on that. And if any of the presenters, and we also have my big auntie here, Auntie Ruth Omorege, please, ma, I would like you to give us just a bit contribution as well. But what I'm going to say about what my auntie Eweka said, that is correct to an extent, ma. Because in the hospital, remember, we're talking about body language. Sometimes when you come, because I've done some shifts in the PEDS emergency, when you come into the hospital with a child and the child is afraid of you, that is a cause for concern. When because you just know when you see the child fidgeting, so fearful, so frightful, it's not like they're going to take your child off you because of that. No. And for the social workers, we don't need to look at them as enemies. They are not enemies, really. They are there to support families who are struggling. And if any child is there that needs support, they would take that child and offer support. So we shouldn't be looking at social workers as the bad people. However, if there is any cause for concern, and be it the social worker, be it the nurse, be it the doctor, you are with that child, it is your duty of care to escalate that, to say, do you know what? I feel something is off. Because if you do not escalate that and something goes bad, it's on you. If you have ever had the contact with that child and you missed that opportunity where the child was so frightened of the parent, you missed it, and later they get to know that, oh, this child was being abused, you are going to be questioned. Like Pastor Abidemi said, your pain is on the line, because they will ask you, how can you miss such obvious signs? So I think if any of our guest ministers want to quickly add on that one about the Bible part, and then we take questions quickly, because we haven't got much time. Any contribution on that, ma'am?
Yes, I want to add that again. Even the Bible that you are reading say, don't provoke your children to anger. Don't provoke them to anger. It means in the course of you correcting them, there are some, we can be so pushy to the world that it's only the negative part of that thing they did that we always do. And a child is emotional as well. A child has emotion. You can get them to get angry, and by the time the child is angry, the child now get back at you. You now come back. You are disrespecting me. Am I the one you are looking at like that? You make the child get angry. If you can get angry, you have emotion. You get to your children to have emotion. So oftentimes we shouldn't make. It is usually Africans that we want to make sure that our children must get angry to learn. They get angry and they learn when listening. They listen. It's only listening, and you show them picture. Tell them when you are correcting them. Let them know what they have wrong, what they have done wrong. As you tell them, so you don't just say you don't do that. You don't do that. Stop that. Why are you saying stop? Why are you punishing them? I have 3 girls. 3 girls. My first child is 23. The second one is going to be 19. I have one that is going to be 14. That I don't correct them. Yeah. I correct them, but I never smack my children. I don't eat them. I do not eat them. We talk as mothers and we have relationship. I get scared that if I don't tell them, they might lure them with phone. They might lure them with ideas. So the basis to train and for a child to listen to you is for that child to know that you love them. Whatever you are.
Because I think it might be a little bit different from Northern Ireland. I see Deaconess Ruth on the line. If she could then just throw a little bit of info on that for us to be really good. There's a few people from the Republic here that, that would be interested in knowing that. Again, I already know that we shouldn't. And I just think it's good we know the law.
Shut up.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Define Classics. And this is a beautiful presentation. This is Deaconess Ruth Omorege.
Shut up.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you, ma. Carry on, ma. Thank you, ma.
Okay. All right. Just to answer Sister Hope's question in terms of chastisement, physical or corporal punishment and all that, in the Republic of Ireland, based on our Child Care Act 1991 and Child Care Act 2015, is not allowed. There is something like reasonable or whatever, any level of punishment that you intend to bestow on the child that will cause that child pain, and even to the extent of living or causing that child harm, is not allowed. Because sometimes what we parents consider as reasonable, especially when it becomes physical, you might just end up even doing the worst, because at the end of the day, you are actually correcting that child from that point of anger. So there's just no way you actually make it a very reasonable level. Even smacking a child on the bum is not allowed. Is not allowed. And going to the word of God, going to the word of God in terms of spare the rod and spoil the child. I always tell people, that to me, it's more like an idiomatic expression, and there are different ways we can discipline our children. It doesn't have to be physical. That rod might just be a kind of consequence that you could use, creating a reward system for a child, creating a consequence system for a child, letting that child know that if you do this is the consequence. If you do this is the reward. The consequence doesn't have to be physical eating. It doesn't have to be. Because after all, that child is not a goat. He's only a goat that you actually need to use a stick to deal with before that goat probably will take off from the cassava that he or she wants to eat. Raising a cane or a rod against a child, it's as if you are treating that child as a goat. And the long-term impact of this is that it destroys that child's self-esteem. As parents, you must be very, very careful. You must know your child's strongest link. You must know your child's weakest link. There must be something that you can do as a parent, and without even beating that child, that whenever you withdraw that thing from that child will feel the consequence of bad behavior. You must understand your child and know what is reasonable, not physical. Any physical punishment, whether I don't know how you're going to classify it, is not allowed and is punishable by law. And I can recall when Divine Classic was reading up what somebody posted there in terms of using your eye or your body language to communicate with your child. My dear people here, I know our culture encourages such things, but it is dangerous. Because one of the things that put us at risk most times is when our children are within our space and they are not free. And if social services are there, social workers are there, and they notice it, it's an indication that that child is being abused. Before you know what's happening, they begin to investigate and begin to find out what is wrong. Why is this child not free? Where his or her parents are? When you be somewhere, you are using your eye or whatever to talk to your child, and the child is not feeling uncomfortable. Why don't you just give that child a proper moral upbringing at home before you take the child out? Because you never can tell where you're going to find yourself, and somebody else notices that. Before you know what's happening, there's going to be an investigation being carried out. And another one I want to also add to it as well. When something happens at home and you tell your child, don't tell. I remember there was a case that I actually handled not long ago. A family relative told this particular child not to tell. And that's what we call breach of trust in social work. Telling your child not to tell is worse than your child telling and you apologizing to the government that, oh, you made a mistake or doing what was wrong. Please, can you teach me how to parent my child better? Never make that mistake of telling your child, don't tell. It's better for your child to even go and tell. And by the time they come and they start interrogating you, tell them that, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Is there anything that I can do to parent better? You sound vulnerable, because most times when we are at fault, we begin to claim our rights. That's why we mix it with the social work system, social services, But when you sound vulnerable, that, oh, I didn't know, or I did out of anger, please, can you teach me how to parent better? They will give you another chance. They can't just take your child immediately from you. After all, you don't even have enough parents out there that they're going to place children with. So the social work system, they are trying their best at all times to see how they can support a child in the family placement rather than the family system broken down. So we must be very careful. Never tell your child, don't tell. No secrecy. If the child chooses to go and tell the child in school, this is what happened at home, so be it, and let the child come calling at your door. If you are in such a situation and you need legal advice or you need social work advice, reach out. Like I always tell people in my church, whenever you find yourself in such a situation, contact us. We will give you reasonable advice that can stand and that you can use in that particular situation. But do not deny and do not fight back unnecessarily, because you will never win that battle. But if you sound vulnerable, they will give you another chance. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Auntie. I really appreciate that. That was impromptu and so apt. Thank you so much, Ma. Contribution from the chat said early start in proper communication and discipline is a key. That's very good. Communication is very important. At this point, due to time, if there is any other question, just quickly, because Dr. Kene and Pastor Abidemi, they have to leave now. But if you want to stay back, Auntie Ruth, she has more than enough to share with us. I've attended most of our events. Each time Hope sends it to me, I always attend because I know that she is loaded. She's a social worker based in Ireland. So the laws are kind of similar, but she's just said that it's not allowed at all. Here, they did that blanket statement of reasonable punishment. But what is reasonable punishment? That's an argument for another day. So if there's no other question, Dr. Kenneth will just say parting word, and then Pastor Abidemi will say hers, because I don't want to keep them for more than necessary. Then we can carry on having the chat. I have stopped sharing in the public forum, but I am recording this conversation. I am recording this because I couldn't share on Facebook due to whatever reason. So I need to record it and share later. But Dr. Kenneth, if you can just give us a message, a parting message, then hopefully, I'm thinking, like Pastor Abidemi said, the time is not enough. It's too rushed. There are lots of things that we could have talked on. I attended the program yesterday and they said there is a part 2. There might be a part 2 for this event. So please watch out, because I want us to explore this area and I want people to have the opportunity to ask questions, because it's very, very important for all of us. Some of us, our children are older. We also have the younger ones who are just relocating in here where the laws are different. So we need to know more. We need to learn. So Dr. Kenneth, if you have just a message, if you're not there, because you're
thanks for Thanks for having me. I'm just rushing to hit the train station. Anyway, what I can say is don't hit them. You don't have to hit them. You shouldn't hit children. Don't hit them. Talk to them. Listen to them. You can be a good parent without hitting them. And being a tough mom doesn't mean you're the best mom. You don't have to be tough, but you have to be firm. I don't want to see you in the hospital, because it's so sad when you come in and I have to look at you because a black child is being hit. So I don't want to see that. Let's raise healthy, happy children who make us proud of this country and beyond. And bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Dr. Kenneth, if you don't mind, if you could share your slides with me, I can share it to people on the group, because I know you rushed through it. So is it possible to have a copy of your slide, please? Thank you. You said no problem. Thank you so much. Can we just thank Dr. Kenneth for that wonderful presentation? And our dear mommy, Pastor Abidemi, if you just quickly want to give us a parting message, and if you are still here because we've got a question, that's fine. If not, we've got other social workers around who can take on the question. Thank you very much, ma'am.
I want to say that it's been nice to be here, and I quite enjoy it. I thank you for the invite. Oftentimes, I want to leave us with this. You can't bring up children on your own. You can't bring up children on your own. To bring up a successful child or children, it's not just one person. It takes the community. It takes, if you believe in God, it takes God to help you. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. And you don't have to eat. A lot of parents have this functional background and they transfer the aggression on their children. Go for help. All your backload, don't pour it on those child. And as you bring up children, you're not only bringing up your children, no, that is somebody's wife. That is somebody's husband in the future. Most marriages that you see problems today coming up, is not because of that. It's not because that problem started with that marriage that they are in. Is the backflow of what their backload of what they are bringing from their parents. So as a parent, you have what to do. Parenting is something eternal that you are liable to, you are responsible to give feedback even to God. Nobody is after you here. That child, as long as you are in this soil, on the soil here in the UK, is not only owned by you and government. Even that your rights as a parent can be withdrawn from you. Do you want that withdrawn internally? Nobody is eyeing you. As a parent, you sell yourself out through the tentacles of your children, the way they appear, what you model to them. Be a good model. Sow a good seed. Let your children represent you well. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. I do appreciate you, Ma. I will put the link again on the group. Pastor Abidemi has a foundation called Abiola Charity Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization where she supports the needy. So I'll put the link for the group on Facebook. So please go follow, like, and be a part of that wonderful project. Now we have a question. Sister Ade Portibrada, she has a question. She's put her hand up. And please, this is a free forum now. If you feel that you can answer, please just put your hands up and answer the question. This is the interactive session now where it's going to be question and answer. And I will answer. We still have some social workers in our midst, and I know we have some health professionals as well. And I will answer to the best of my ability. Thank you to all our speakers and the hosts. Thank you. I will go with Otibrida first because she put her hand up. Thank you, Otibrida.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, everybody. I wanted to ask those of us coming from Africa that before you look at your child is fidgeting and know, mommy don't paro, mommy's nose is wide, mommy's nose is already breathing. So what will I do? So how do we, I'm actually directing to, is it Mommy Ruth? Mommy Ruth, because she said we should act vulnerable. I don't know how she put it. So how do we now try and get over that, let them get over that feeling? Because for my kids, before I give them this look, they say, oh yeah, arrange yourself. See mommy, see mommy knows, or see she's breathing, So I really would like her to maybe throw more light about that, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's interesting. Oh my God. Okay. I understand where you're coming from. And I think in the UK, you're going to have lots of children based on these immigration laws. So you're going to have lots of children coming to the UK with their parents. So let's just take your case study now and pieces it. You're in a new environment. And this child wasn't born here. And you brought the child from home. And you've already set up a culture whereby you use your eyes, you use all your body before you even raise your hand to communicate, and the child is able to read your signals. So the only thing you're going to do, like what the pastor said, you have to start unlearning all those methods. Until you put yourself in that position to unlearn, you will never be able to achieve this. And before you know what's happening, this child is going to carry it on to school. And research has proven, I'm talking from Ireland now, research has proven that children that were not born here, that actually came from Africa to Europe, they have this tendency to actually avail more of the social work system than African children that were born here. Why? Because there's a strong mix in culture. And this strong mix in culture and inability to actually adapt speedily is actually the fault of the parents, the inability of the parents to unlearn their parenting method that they brought from Africa. So you too, as a parent, start unlearning all those methods. Ask God to help you, and definitely God will help you. If you do not unlearn those methods and you carry it on, my dear, it takes the mercy of God. It takes the mercy of God. And if one is not even careful, before you know what that means, when these children are even able to stand on their own and they don't know the law more than you will be shocked the day they will stand to your face and give it back to you mercilessly. You'll be wondering, is this the child that I brought from Africa that is talking to me like this? Why? Because this child has gone ahead farther than you. But it will be easier if you are taking that learning procedure, to start unlearning all those parenting methods that you brought from Africa. And God Almighty will help us in Jesus' name.
Amen. So much, Auntie.
Amen. And I'm going to add something to the question Multi-Brighter asked. I'm just going to add to what Deaconess Ruth said. And Deaconess, please, I'll say correct me, because I know you know better, 100%, especially on matters like this, you know better than most of us here. Just my own advice or my own suggestion would also be when, when parents bring children from Africa, children that are not born here, I again, like I said, just a thought, it might be beneficiary for the parents to have a talk with the children and inform them of some differences in the culture. In other words, like to let them know, like, I know I used to do this, I know I used to do that. Here, I'm going to try to stroke it out completely or minimize it as much as I can. But these are these are the consequences if you don't do things as you should do. Kind of let the children know, not by threatening them, but just informing them, kind of to tell them that this is new to me, this is new to you. We're going to unlearn and learn everything together. We're going to work on this new process together, and it will be easier if we work together, and we have a chance of better results if we do it together. I know it depends on the age of the children, I believe, but again, I've noticed that no child is too young to communicate with. Most of them, we think they don't understand, but to some extent they do. So just informing the child that, this is a new system, new realm. We're going to be doing things a little bit different here, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm still mommy and I'm in charge.
Yeah, you're right, Sister Hope, that we actually have that family discussion and let them know that we are in a new environment. You're going to be changing your parenting approach, but there's also an exposure to danger. There's a risk there, changing your parenting approach, and having that conversation with your child, might also make the child feel that, oh, things are really going to be changing now. I'm going to be the one in control here. There should be a way that parents can really unlearn things. And one of the ways that we can unlearn is that it's not everything that they do wrong that we pay attention to. Sometimes you just kind of do as if you didn't see. Though you saw it, but you ignore. Because when that child is fidgeting or reacting, because the child believes that you will always respond to things. Oh, if I do this is how you're going to respond. But sometimes, even if it does happen and you ignore and say, oh, don't do it again. So it's okay, but don't do it again. They'll begin to see that kind of change in you as a parent. You get what I'm saying? But if you have that conversation with your child, it depends on the age of the child. But to me, it's a high-risk conversation. It's a high-risk thing because that child might misconstrue it as a power shift.
That's also true.
So we have to be very, very careful because the issue that we have here in parents is all about power. Who is in control is in charge. And it comes up when children become challenging. So we all have to be very, very careful. But sometimes if we can learn to overlook their errors and do as if you didn't say it, then politely call and say, next time, don't do that. Though I saw it, but don't do it again. They will know that mommy is changing gradually. Mommy don't react the way she used to react before. Because mommy has gone to study Children's First national guidelines. And mommy now knows the meaning of abuse.
That's something we need to go and learn. Sorry, Auntie.
Exactly.
Children's First national guidelines. So people write it down because the truth is we all want to be better than our parents, and we are never too old to learn new things. We should unlearn those cultures. The funny thing is, it's not just about people coming now. Even some of the kids that we born here, children that were born here, still go through this abuse. So while we are thinking about people that are just coming, we should think about ourselves as well. Do you understand?
Exactly.
We should we've come to this place for a better life. We want to pick the good things, but the things which research has shown to be bad for our kids, we still want to hold on to them as a form of control. We should learn to learn new things. So we have another person, Daddy Fidel, has got his hands up for a question, and I've got my big auntie Abiyayiwa as well. So we'll go with Daddy Fidel first, please. You can unmute your mic.
Good day, everyone. My name is Fidelis. My one is not just question per se. It's just a kind of encouragement to everyone, because most of us, we know where we all come from Africa. We're coming from a very damaged background. A lot of us are damaged. Even if we are here now, we're talking about our parents. They acted on the information that was best known to them. That was how they brought us up the way they did. But now we are in another refined environment where children can look at you in the eye and tell you what they want. Back home, can we try that? No. So thank God we have pastors in our midst. It's not just to say it here. We should take it to our homes, take it to our churches, and create a forum for people to come up, to open up and learn. We really need to learn this thing. You know, back home, we just say, oh, it's my child, I can do anything. Or they will say, oh, that's my child. My child is a community child. Anybody can speak to that child. No. Back home, our little children can sit on adult laps. Here, can you do it? No. So we have to kind of look within ourselves inwardly, because whatever we're doing, most of us, we're doing it very wrong. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That's a wonderful contribution. Thank you so much, sir. God bless you richly. And now we have my big auntie, Auntie Abiyayiwa. You can unmute your mic, Auntie. Good to see you, ma. Thank you so much for joining, Auntie.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening,
Our
Auntie.
network here is very poor. It's raining here. I hope you are hearing me.
Yes.
Yes. I've been hearing unlearn. It's not everything we unlearn. We unlearn the negative one and keep the positive ones. Apart from unlearning and trying to adapt to where we find ourselves, for those of us here, hello?
Can hear you, ma. Carry on, Auntie.
For those of us here in Africa, we still believe that we should be firm with our children. Apart from being firm with them, what do you do in their present? What they see you do also matters a lot. You cannot be saying one thing and be doing the other thing. They should see you as an upright parent. When they see you do the right thing at all times, they will not have any other chance of misbehaving. They know that you too, you don't misbehave as a parent. But if what you are doing is different from what you are saying, it confuses them. It causes sort of cause confusion within them. If what you are saying is what you are doing and you are inculcating into them, it will be very, very easy for them to adapt. And again, like I put in my chat before now, early start. Don't say their children, even toddlers, they know when you are not happy with them. Like my child, who is now a medical doctor, will tell me, Mommy, tell me sorry. I say, what am I telling you sorry for? If I know that I need to tell him sorry, I will tell him sorry. If I know that I've not done anything, don't want the sorry he will not get. Sometimes he will even tell me sorry. Mommy, sorry, please tell me sorry. I will say sorry because you have told me sorry, but I don't know why you want me to tell you sorry. You understand? Early start is very, very important. Don't say leave her, leave him. He's a small child. He's not a small child. That's my only two contribution. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Auntie. And for those that don't know, if you were part of our last event, Auntie Abiyayiwa Eweka is the mom of Dr. Andrew, who was our special guest on that event. So I've known Auntie for a very long time. Auntie she's a nurse back home. And yeah, so when I sent her the invite and she wanted to join, I was very excited. But the truth is, you know, the way things are here, Auntie, it's quite different. We are not saying don't train your children, don't discipline them. There are times where you even do that, but it's like you are not doing it enough and you are almost being pushed to smack. That's the area where we, thank you so much. Yeah, I can see you, you can go. Thank you, sister. That's the area where we are trying to explore now. Yes, you said, and it just tallies with what Pastor Abidemi said about positive model behavior. We can't be doing one thing, being bad and expecting our kids to be good. It's not going to work. You know, that's one of the things, because of time, it was really rushed. Like they said, it should have been 2 hours, but where do you get the speakers to stay for 2 hours? That's been the challenge that I have been having. Maybe we could do it again. And some of the points, if there is any contribution you can add, but I just wanted to run through any contribution, any question? If there is none, I would say some of the points that I personally have put down in terms of positive parenting behavior. One is de-escalation. De-escalation. And somebody asked, and Dr. Kenny was answering the questions, he couldn't answer all of them. Somebody asked about slamming the door when you are leaving the house. Is that really a good way of de-escalation? Living is very good, leaving that area. And Dr. Kenneth put something on Facebook that I shared some time ago, that when you feel angry with your child, it's best to walk away. That is very, very correct. But slamming the door, that's another area, because you could have problem with your neighbor as well. They will say, oh, they are very loud in that house. They're always slamming the door. You can walk out. And walking out is a way of de-escalation. Just to bring, the truth is, we don't make logical decisions when we are angry. Everybody can attest to that, be it when you are dealing with even co-adults or even children in your workplace. When you are angry, it's so hard to make any reasonable what's the right word to use now? Logical reasoning. You can't reason properly, you know, so try to de-escalate that situation. And hope I can see your hand, thank you very much. And the way you can say, how can I walk away from my child? The truth is, it's going to get to a stage, like for those that know my kids now, my first son is so tall, I have to look up when I'm looking at him. It's going to get to a stage where these children will grow more than us. The earlier we start to respect them, the easier it will be, because people say when they are younger, it's easy to manage. Some say when they are older. The truth is, I don't think there is any easy time to deal with the children. So the earlier you start to like learn different positive parenting technique, which will go up to teenagehood, and maybe even till tomorrow, we still take advice from our parents. You're just that they don't slap us, they don't beat us anymore. So it's very good that we learn those techniques. Another one is redirection. Somebody mentioned redirection earlier. I will pause here and let her quickly ask her question or contribution. And we have just 10 minutes more. After 10 minutes, we'll be cutting off. Thank you. If you have any questions, please put in the chat section or ask.
Contribution. I think Brother Chris Give was going to say something. Chris Give. If we put it in the comment, Brother Chris, yeah.
Chris, she's a sister, I know. Yeah, okay. I think, yes, you can say something, Sister Chris. Just my present experience with social worker and CAFCAS, and that is here in the UK. Please unmute yourself, Sister Chris, and please share with us. Thank you so much.
Hi. I just want to make a contribution. It is mostly about the perception that about slapping a child, because one thing is this: the issues that are being treated about abuses with children, mostly with African parents, they don't see it. Sorry, I had to open my door for somebody for me. They don't see it as a one-off thing. There are some form of discipline that are acceptable, but given how prevalent and persistent it is, experiences of social worker and Kafkas with abuses in immigrants, especially of African descent.
Sorry, sister. Sorry to cut you short. Can you just let us know what Kafkas is? Because that's a term that some people might not be familiar with.
Okay. Kafkas is like they are social worker, they work with courts, they work with the court system. They are social worker that work with the court system. When children cases proceed beyond the normal local authority, it is when court is involved, it is the Kafka social workers that get to work on it, and they work with local authority. So the thing is that when they find out that a child is being abused, even just one slap on the face, they go to the children's school. They prod and pry to the children until they find out if there was ever another time in the past that the child had been beaten like that. They don't limit to just that one incident. That is what I think most African parents don't understand. That it is not just, children don't get taken on just that one time. They pry, whatever you say, they don't just go to interview the children, just social worker. They take with them children's psychologists that will sit there, and they are going to probe the children until the children tell about previous time. And that is what often leads to interference by local authorities into the family. Because you as a parent might talk to them, oh, this is what happened at this time, you might explain it away. But when they go to talk to the children, they probe beyond that one time. They could probe back years. The way you talk to the children, the other time that you beat the child, the other time that you did this, and kids will tell. Kids will tell. And once the children talk at school, they might be afraid to tell you what they have told these people at school. And these people might not reveal to you what they have learned from your child. So it is important to have it at the back of your mind that you cannot control what your children reveal once they come to them outside of you. So about that discipline, oh, you can slap them one time, you can slap their butt, please avoid it, because they don't take it lightly with African parents, because they believe is there that we are heavy-handed, and once you do it once, you'll be doing it before. So it is better to force yourself, however you're going to do it, to back out of it completely. Do it. Do it. That's just it. All right, that's my contribution.
Thank you so much, sister, for sharing that. And I will speak to you after this event, Sister Chris. I'm going to speak to you about something. Thank you so much. Sister Lisa has got her hands raised. Can you unmute your mic, please? Thank you very much, ma.
Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation and all that we have learned. But I'm just coming from a place of prayer. I think fundamentally, we're trying to nurture these children to be responsible adults. So it's important that we pray, we pray for them. We should train them up. We should instruct our children, train them up in the way that they should go. There's so many things, unfortunately, in this culture, that we want to derail them. I know we're talking about parenting, but there's also other external forces. I know that parents sometimes might want to get angry at their children because once they get to a certain stage, they might be offered something outside, and before you know it, they start to, I know I'm going, they must start to peddle drugs or do something that is complete out of line. So it is important that we pray for them. It is important that we keep our eyes open. It is important that we know who we associate with and who they associate with as well. It's important, because we are working as well. And there's this tendency that you might want to go to work and you might want to palm these children off to somebody else, and you don't know what gets down into that other family that you leave your child to. So those are the things that we should look into as well, because those things can also model the behavior of your children. You don't know whether they drink, whether they smoke there, you know, but because you want to go and do a shift, then because of circumstances, you know, we have to work in this country, but we should be vigilant on who we palm off these children to, you know. If you can't look after your children yourself, there's, you know, there should be a limit into who you trust your children with, including childminders. You should do proper research. And if you can afford to stay at home, just for the sake of your children, stay at home, you know, or do a part-time thing. I know some people will say, I don't want to do dorm care, but it might be appropriate just for a phase, so that you have time to look after these children. Nothing happens by magic. So that's another point. That's another challenge, especially from people that are, you know, are starting all over, you know, coming here. If you go to church, it might be appropriate if you find out who, you know, from the church or your church people, who can you leave your children with? You know, you've seen them, you know, you can trust them. Don't just palm them off to a next door neighbor, you know, because you want to do a shift.
Thank you, ma. Thank you so much, Sister Lisa. And that is in line with one comment which says, learn how to be their friend, seek for their opinion too. You know, the truth is, we should be our children's friend. Some people will say, no, I cannot be their friend. I'm the mother. I cannot be their friend. But there are things that they will tell friends that they will not tell you because mommy is going to shout. Obviously, we're not saying they should do wrong things and come and boldly tell us. But we should have that open door policy where our children should feel comfortable talking to us. But is it always easy? You know, we say a lot of things, but the truth is, it's not always easy. Hopefully, I'm going to get Dr. Kenneth to share his slide, because he had a lot of points in his slide, which we didn't have the time to go through. There were points on there that we can use. I will share it. If you want me to send the slide to you, just let Sister Hope know, and let me know if you're in the UK. For those in Ireland, thank you so much for joining. Let Sister Hope know, and I will send the slides to you. Because we keep talking, no, don't smack, don't do this. But the truth is, Sister Lisa raised a very salient point about social economics. Sometimes you're coming from work, you are frustrated, and then one child is all over the place trying to like do your head in. You know, chances are you're going to lash out. But what we are trying to learn now is, let's learn positive ways that we can lash out if there's anything like that. So please, people, let's do better. We can do better. We can break that cycle. Bad things should not be a norm. And the problem we have with our culture is that some people are not willing to change. Anybody can. Some people are not willing to unlearn that thing, to say, oh God, I don't want to be hitting my child again. Some people are just still stuck in there, but we should be different. We are in a new area where it's not even acceptable. It's not acceptable. You go out and you see some people, you know, you see some white people actually smack their kids. But like my sister Chris said, it goes beyond just one smacking. If it becomes a norm all the time, they're not just going to come to your house because you just smacked them once and take the kids. No. But the truth is, if you feel comfortable like beating them outside, or you feel like it's a norm to do it at the house, or rather in the house all the time, then there is a problem. That's what we want to try to break, that norm, or change that norm. Let's learn other ways that we can do parenting better, and so that our children will be our friend. It's not easy. A lot of people are not friends. When we say friends, they still talk to their parents because it's African society. You are expected to. But deep down, they think about the trauma. We don't like to use that word, but some people, I spoke to some people, they say, I'm traumatized by the amount of physical abuse that I endure. Because when you look at this society now, and you look at where you're coming from, you look at how you were beaten with belts, with slippers, with everything, wooden stick, and people still think it is okay. It is not. It is not. Let us do better. Let us try to start changing it so that our children's generation will be a no. No, this I'm not doing at all. One thing I remember, and I shared this some time ago, my dad came to the UK, went to my daughter's school, and they were doing a program, and all the kids were so well behaved. They sat on the you know, in some schools, they don't use, when they have the assembly, because they are children, they all sit on the ground. The kids sat on the ground. I think my daughter was about maybe year 2, or what they call it, kindergarten 2, whatever. You know, the kids were so behaved. And my dad said, wow. Do you know what fascinates me? There is no teacher carrying any big cane for these children to say, if you don't sit down, I will beat you. There is nobody threatening them. The teachers are not shouting. The children are behaving. One teacher is at one end, there's another on the other end. You know, and they are doing everything that the teacher asks them to do. There is no one that they are saying, oh, you have to sit down. You know, that's because that's how the kids are used to being raised in school. They're not used to being shouted out. They're not used to being hit by stick, which will toughen their skin. I would like, if there's no other contribution or question, I would like to end this video, this program, this event on this note to say, we should not see physical chastisement as a norm. If you used to see it as the norm before, begin to unlearn that behavior. We are never too old to start to learn new things. I think Hope put a link there for that thing that Auntie Ruth mentioned about. Let's learn. If you go online, there are different parenting courses that you can learn. And if you have problems, speak to, if you have social workers in your church, speak to them. Speak to them. If you don't even have, speak to your pastor to say, I'm struggling in this area. Can you help me, ma? Your pastor can pray with you from the spiritual angle. They can do things. Your pastor can also signpost you to a professional social worker who can help you, who can tell you, okay, do you do it like this? Don't do it like this. So please, we should begin to learn more. We should begin to ask for support if we think we are struggling. Let's not make a bad thing a norm. Let us break it with our generation. I don't know if Auntie Ruth wants to quickly say something to wrap up, and we will just end the program. Thank you ever so much. And I would like to say that the time was too short. I will definitely do this again, where I will give each speaker a minimum of 30 minutes, because 15 minutes was too short, but they said that's the time that they have. You know, you can't force them to talk. But next time we're doing it, it's going to be more arranged, nothing less than 30 minutes, where they can explore. You know, we can really take this matter, and it's going to be a 2-hour program. 1 hour is not enough to explore this difficult, or rather this sensitive area. Auntie Ruth, my big auntie, if you just want to give us a parting message as a social worker, we will be grateful for that, ma'am. I don't know if she's still there. She can't hear. Anyway, I'll end now because she can't hear. But thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. We still have 28 people here, which is fantastic. At the end, almost 40 minutes past the normal time, we still have 28 people standing. Thank you so much for supporting. I thank my pastor, Pastor Caroline Adebayo, how she promoted this event as well. I appreciate it so much. God bless you richly. Thank you, ma. I do not take it for granted. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all that are supporting Divinely Classic. God bless you richly. This event, this health education event, is just for us to learn, to teach ourselves about good things, about health, about how to take care of our children. And hopefully, by the grace of God, next month we are having another one. I don't know if it's going to be this topic, we'll do it next month, or if it will be the month after, because it just depends on when my speakers are available. On that note, I would like to end this event. Thank you ever so much. Please keep supporting Divinely Classic. The links are on the comment section. I'm going to stop the recording, and hopefully I can save it and share on our Facebook platform. Thank you so much, Sister Sylvia. Thank you so much, ma. God bless you. Thank you, Sister Hope, Sister Beams. Thank you, Sister Chris. I'm going to speak to you, Brother Kinsley. Thank you. Sister Ngozi Moye, thank you so much. Sister Yetunde, Sister Bimbola Olanio, thank you so much. Mommy Juliana Fatima, God bless you, ma. Sister Folake Jewando, Sister Bukola, Sister Joy Eseka. I see you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sister Bosede, Sister Lisa. I'm just calling the names of people still on the platform. Sister Christabel, Sister Esther. Thank you ever so much. Sister Rachel. Thank you, my darling sister. God bless you richly, and have a fantastic Sunday evening. Take care. Bye, bye, bye.
Yo, wala wala.